And we are live. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. Some of you may not know. You may recognize her face from her little avatar or profile picture. Oh, I forgot to turn my volume down.
So did I. I just did
Oh, she's like,
it.
my phone's talking to me. Um, but we have the lovely Kristen Louise. She always comes and hangs out in everybody's chats and supports us. So thank you for Louise. No, I keep calling you Louise because I'm so used to have a cousin named Louise. So Kristen. So forgive me.
That's
So
fine.
Kristen, thank you for joining us. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank
Um,
you.
I know you do have a channel. You don't. Life's been busy, so you haven't been able to post in a while.
Hmm.
Um, but and I know you don't do very many of these lives. I think I may be only the second or third. So thank you. I feel honored. Thank you for trusting me to come on and share and talk with me and share your beautiful cards.
Well, thank you for having
Um,
me.
we have people popping in already. Sharon Syke was here. Hello, Sharon. Lisa Rhodes, she said, several days ago, I'm there, and I'm like, okay. Serena's here. Hello, Teresa Levine. So thank you everybody for popping in. I know we have several shows going on, so even if you can just spend a few minutes to say hello and to let me introduce you to our fellow compatriot, our dads and our channels. And there's Allison. Hello, Allison. Thank you for
Hi.
joining us. Um, so Kristen created her own Oracle deck. Now, when did you actually start the whole process of
Um,
creation to print to where we
I
are now?
don't, I couldn't say the exact date, but it took about a year of creation. It started just with me throwing images out there and not really knowing what the theme was or the energy. And so a lot of the earlier cards that I created just didn't, make it into the deck. Because they were completely a different style.
Mm-hmm.
But it took about a year to finish everything. Yeah.
Okay. So you started them last year, and then they were
Yes.
just released over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And the links to purchase Kristen's cards are in the description. What, you're here already? Oh my goodness. As everybody knows, I have a sidekick when he feels
Oh.
like it. So, Mozzie wanted to say hi. Say hi to Kristen. Say
Hi.
hi to everybody. So, we'll
So
get it out of our
cute.
system. So, yeah. Alrighty, back down you go. No, you can't be on her cards. Okay. Description, not the description. The link is in the description. Along with Kristen Louise's channel. Sorry.
That's
As I was
fine.
explaining to Kristen backstage, I had a cousin named Louise. She's in spirit. Um, and so when I automatically, so like I said, I apologize if I slip up a
That's okay. That's
little.
okay.
But everything is listed in the description below on how to get her cards. Um, so they were just released this summer, and um, I first saw the cards themselves being used by Chris from. Okay, there's a lot of cartomancies. Elemental cartomancy. He's
Mm-hmm.
in Scotland, and I just
Yes.
love how he says my name. You just love that Scottish bro. Oh my god! When
Yes.
anybody from my fellow readers in England or now in Scotland say Heather, it's just like I absolutely love it. So he was the one, thank goodness, because a lot of people have not seen Kristen's cards. And we need to, and I know like Gerald likes to have a little thing purchased responsibly. And I know that there are so many extremely creative deck creators that are out there. And I know the market is full of decks, but at some point, I would really love to see if we can start getting Kristen's cards around. I mean, they're just absolutely beautiful. Get the word out there. Um, checking my questions because I want to make sure that, because you don't do too many of these interview lives, I have, the right questions that I wanted to ask you. Um, First of all, what made you want to create these?
What made me want to do
Hmm.
it? I really love doing graphic design. So I just wanted to do an artistic project and I thought about doing an Oracle deck. And I'm Norse pagan. I wanted to do something with runes. I figure, that's a safe bet for me, to try to blend my woo side with the Oracle deck with my Norse pagan side with the
Hmm.
runes, and so I wanted to create something that people who aren't Norse pagan would be able to connect with. I wanted them to be able to connect with the runes, and a lot of times people like Norse pagans are all about just the runes. You get the little discs of bone or wood with the runes carved into them, and that's really difficult. It's difficult for me. I
Hmm.
can I connect better with images, so I thought I would create one. So with images, yeah.
When I was in my 20s, I actually bought tiny little pieces of flat moonstone and got craft paint and painted the runes, and then I used thumbnail polish to cover over it to hold it in place. I still have them, but I never end up connecting to them.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, maybe I'm not meant to connect with runes. I still have them. Every time I go to return them to the earth to go bury them, it's like I can't let go of them though. So there may be a reason why I'm still supposed to hold on to those. Um, but I kept them after all these years. And then earlier this year, I took a runes class, little workshop through a local metaphysical shop. And it kind of got my interest back again because I had one of those ancestry.com tests done a few years back as a birthday gift.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that I'm Scandinavian. It's about
Cool.
4%, but that's still a part that nobody in the family knew about. Finnish, Scandinavian, a little bit closer up to the Russian part of the area. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at these going, well, this isn't my heritage. So maybe I really need to try to. And that's why I'm taking the workshop. Even if I didn't end up connecting to the um, the rune symbols themselves, at least I was still connecting with a part of my heritage. And
Mm-hmm.
then after taking that workshop, I met you through the chats, and then I found out you have an oracle deck, and that's when, for me, putting the runes, the symbols on with the images started to click for me, because you said for you, images also are very
Mm-hmm.
powerful.
Yeah.
And to showcase some of the, and just really quick, we did have someone else pop in. That's Allison, Aries Girl. Hello. Thank you for joining us. And I know that Sharon went ahead and put in your YouTube channel as well. And Kristen doesn't have a lot of videos, but the ones she does are nice because she likes to go for walks in nature. Did you want to share those few videos?
Sure. I have a patch of woods right by my house. So yeah, it's so nice to have that, and it's just where I decompress, where it's soothing. I see it
Hmm.
as tree therapy. So if I'm feeling out of sorts or just needing to connect with the gods or the ancestors or the land spirits,
Hmm.
the woods are a good place for me to go. So if I'm feeling, out of touch with my spirituality, being among the trees and bushes and stuff like that just can really help. So
And ancestors are also represented in her cards as well. So you said ancestors. I thought that would be a good time to pull out the
yeah,
ancestor card. Um,
and
yeah, I
yeah,
need
pulled that one
to
out
connect.
too.
It's beautiful that you have that much woods in your back, because I miss, as a child, being able to go and just walking in the woods.
Hmm.
I couldn't wait to get to that city life. And now that I'm older, I realize, man, now it's reversed. I miss the country. I miss the connection. It's fun to go into the city, but
Mhm.
you know, to be able to connect and commune with nature, um, for me, there's nothing more healing, more spiritually connecting. You know, you can't
Mhm.
get really more closer to your creator, your higher power, whoever it is that you see, um, except for when you really go into nature because it's all
Mhm.
connected. So,
Yeah.
and Jules jumped in. Hello, Jules. Thank you for being here. Um, and just to give some people some ideas about your cards, what I love about Kristen's cards, and I did do a video, a flip through, so it is in my I probably should have linked that into the description. But is it? They are in my videos. I did a flip through for all the cards. But what Kristen did that was beautiful was that in her deck, she made sure that different ages and ethnicities, um, and sexual preferences were um, given space, sacred space in her cards. Um, you know, we have the Hindu woman, we have the strong, beautiful African male. We have, you know, the Asian heritage represented, and and we have our elderly. Not I don't no, not elderly. Let's take that back. Well, they are. Some people consider the word elderly a derogatory. For me, it's not elder. Well, elderly maybe when you add it, but your elders are your wisdom keepers, crones, um,
Mhm.
and I love how she connected wisdom with, you know, one of our elders, the wisdom keepers, you know, children, you know, represented. Um, the I mean, I could just I'm just going to be quiet for a few seconds here and just show the cards because I don't want me talking kind of distract from the power of the images. And for preferences, I mean, you have your connection card, the EWAS, or AWAS. I'm still learning to pronounce the proper pronunciation, so please correct me too,
Okay.
and educate, because this is to also to educate us, because some of us may not be familiar with,
Mhm.
you know, the Norse pagan mythology, um, except for what we get through the Marvel movies, you know.
Yes.
So we need to have that balance. But for connection, we have your traditional man and woman, but she also included woman and woman, and also it's beautiful, and the male and the male. So everybody has this beautiful representation. Everyone is sacred. Everyone is beautiful in these cards. Strength gets me because people say crying is a sign of weakness. That's what we're raised with. Kristen showed us strength, you know, and healing. A woman who lost her breast because of breast cancer and still has that body positivity to show that that can be still, you're still beautiful, and that you're healing. And body positivity, this, I mean, the joy, she's happy, she's excited, she feels good with about herself in her own skin. So um, those were some of the initial cards that I wanted to share with everybody. Is there any that you wanted to share, or did you want me to go to my next question? What would you like?
I guess just to mention, like you held up this Othala card, which
Hmm.
has the ancestors in it, and these are actually my actual ancestors.
They
Yeah,
are.
yeah. This is my Ransberger ancestors. So that's George Ransberger is the guy. Carrie Rebecca is the baby, and they're about the 1800s. He fought in the Civil War. So yeah, so those I pulled in a picture of my ancestors for
Oh
that
my
card.
goodness, that's amazing because
Yes.
wow, because I have images now of my ancestors through ancestry and through other, you know, family members.
Hmm.
That would be nice to represent maybe them. In my, wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Now, is this your mom's or dad's side?
My dad's.
Your dad's side.
Yeah.
Okay, so is the little baby your grandmother?
That's my great grandmother.
Your great
So
grandmother. Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
Wow. And I just found out that my great grandmother on my dad's side, her and I share the same birthday. So
Oh,
it's just incredible how our
cool.
ancestors still connect with us on so many deep and, spiritual.
Hmm.
Now, did they practice the Norse mythology, the religion? How
No,
did you, okay, because how did you, was that just something that you gravitated as you embraced your heritage? How
it
did, if I'm
actually.
okay to me to ask?
Oh yeah, it's like I think it happened independently. So like I do have some Norse ancestry.
Hmm.
Not a lot, but I did my family tree. I spent over 20 years working on my family tree, and I was able to trace
Oh,
my tree back to like a couple lines back to like the 18, not the 18, the 800s. So I'm a descendant of the first king of Sweden, who
that's right. I
is,
forgot.
yeah, it was a
Hi,
Norse
Robin.
pagan. Hi.
Welcome.
Yeah, and then also Rollo, the Viking Rollo, who became the first Duke of Normandy.
Oh, I'm so proud of
So
you. This is royalty. I
yeah.
have royalty. We have royalty as Norse people.
Yeah.
How amazing is that?
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know why I gravitated towards the Norse pantheon. I like
Mhm.
people ask me that all the time, and I can't answer it. I can't give like a really good story for it. It
Hi,
just sort of
Tiffany.
happened. Hi. Yeah, it
Oops.
just it
Okay.
just sort of happened. Like I was searching. I even got my master's in Christian theology, and like
No,
entered.
wow. I
Yeah,
didn't
so I
know
entered.
that.
Yeah, I entertained, becoming Christian when I was there. I was agnostic when I entered the seminary, so
Okay.
I was the only non-Christian at the seminary. But it was a wonderful experience. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and while I was there, I started entertaining different pagan paths. I
Mm-hmm.
looked into druidry because there's a
Mm-hmm.
local grove for druids in my city. That didn't seem to fit, but eventually I just found something that fit well enough, and that's Norse paganism. And it just feels like home now. I don't have that wandering ache as much as I did before. Like before, I
What
was
what
just
elements?
constantly.
What elements
Was
do you
it?
think is it because of its being just so strong to the earth?
Yeah, like I think that's part of it. Like there's the word that I like to use is chthonic. There's a chthonic, like a dark, and not dark in a negative way, but just
Mm-hmm.
like a dark energy of earthiness. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, I see it as connected to the soil. I see it as ancient. There's just this echo of tradition in it, but at the same time, it's a tradition that can grow and change.
Mm-hmm.
Some Norse pagans will tell you otherwise. They'll say, "Nope, we have to do it
Some
like
are
the way
very
our
strict.
ancestors. Yep, you got to do it the same way. You got to dress the same and believe the same and worship the
Mm-hmm.
same." And I don't fall into that
It,
camp.
that's
So
what I don't like about religions because they become so dogmatic. You're not allowed
yes.
to. No, you already were up here. He's getting angry. Sorry, everybody.
Oh,
But yes, when you say about the dark, I mean, we all come from the womb, and
yes.
it's dark. We sleep
Yeah.
at night in the dark. That's where we heal. That's where we
Mm-hmm.
regenerate. That's when we travel and have our dreams and we connect with spirit and our ancestors. Um, the universe that we live in was birthed out of darkness. So there really needs to be more open communications with the understanding of labels and definitions when dark is related.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this one of the strongest things that what I love too about the cards is that because of the different ethnicities, like my one of my best friends, Amanda, she actually taught me that the connotation of them saying of people saying, well, black is considered evil and white is considered good. Well, that
Mm-hmm.
reflects back on ethnicity of her
Yeah.
people. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was something that never really occurred to me when working with spirituality because I'm like, well, spiritual people wouldn't make that association, but still sometimes they do. So the more we have that beautiful open communication um, about the understanding of, and it doesn't help too with social media. And I love these good old paranormal shows and stuff and whatnot, but sometimes I just cringe and roll my eyes and I want to scream at these, when I'm watching these, saying, okay, just because something is dark, no, just because something is a spirit, it's not, you know. And so it's just like the lines of communication just really need to be opened, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody and everything understood and embraced. And I just saw Rain jump in. Hello, Rain. Thank you for joining us. And this
Hi.
is a good timing because I wanted to bring up the animals too that you brought into the deck. Except I didn't pull out the snake though. I have an extreme phobia of snakes, and it
Oh
has to probably do with the past life. But it's hard for me to sometimes look at even images.
no.
I
Oh.
have so I kind of left the snake out, but
Okay. I
um,
won't bring it out then.
I mean, no, it's your card, you know, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying I gravitated more towards the other four. But snakes are, you know, too, and, you know, being raised, you know, Catholic, you know, the snake was always to represent evil too and the
Mm-hmm.
devil.
Yeah.
And as I got older, you know, I've always understood that that's been a symbol of the ancient goddess, of the
Mm-hmm.
power of transmutation, you know, shedding that skin and moving
Mm-hmm.
out of it and being reborn into a new one. That is very powerful, but because of this, whatever horrific past life I've had, and I've had
Mm-hmm.
some dreams where I'm pretty sure that that was, you know, visions from that past life. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, I can't even, you know, I can honor it and respect, but, you know,
Yeah.
for me to physically, you know, see and be in it's very difficult. But snakes are extremely powerful and transformative, and that was you could go ahead if you wanted to share that one, if you pulled
Let's
it
see.
out.
I don't think I pulled it out. So, and I know
um
I'm not going to be able to find it then.
okay.
I almost pulled it out and then I didn't. I don't.
But for
And
see, that Rain just popped in. She has the horse in here. I love this, the quest. Now it's pronounced Raho, right?
no, Rido.
Rido. Okay.
Yeah.
So Rido, you know,
Yeah.
the horse. And she'll love this one too, as many of us will. When I saw this, I was like, "Oh my god, that's so cute!" Literally, I did that. Fellow traveler, the little puppy
Yes.
dog in the knapsack.
The little puppers. I
Isn't
love
that
that one.
adorable? And of course, I love butterflies. My channel was originally Chrysalis because I still absolutely love my butterflies and the metamorphosis. And there's a nebula. I love how you put the wings around the actual butterfly nebula that's in the universe. I don't think it's ours, but you know, maybe I think it's one of the connecting
Hmm.
universes. But I just thought that was absolutely beautiful. And then of course my kitty cat, you know,
Yes.
made into it. Not quite the jaguar, but still that kitty energy. Well, everybody
Yes.
has seen my babies, my fur babies. So I love the representation. So we have, you know, let's see, Miss Taro D just came in a little bit ago. So he may not have been here to see this. I just want to show too for people who are coming in. Kristen did a beautiful job of doing cards to represent connection, our relationships, and not only with the traditional um, husband and wife, but she also included, you know, the connection with wife and wife and husband as well, which is extremely beautiful. Um, I have these cards set here that I want to ask you about a little bit later. So I'm just going to check the chat really quick because I do see some conversation. Um, Only snakes, no other animals, no religious reference, no probably past life snake bite. Oh, believe me, it was more than one. These dreams these have. I was thrown into a pit of them. So
Wow.
yeah, I've had those dreams. Um, let's see about the St. Patrick killing the snakes too. Was it it was a metaphor.
Hmm.
Yeah, driving out the druids, the pagan peoples. Yeah, it's well known. Miss
Yeah, I'm pretty
Orange.
sure that's true. I'm not 100% sure, but
I've
I'm pretty
heard it
sure that's
over
a
the
true.
years.
Yeah, that it's
It's a reference of driving the pagans out and bringing Christianity into,
hmm.
because they associated the snakes with the devil, and of course, the devil was then associated with anybody that was
Yeah.
pagan or practiced witchcraft or nature medicine or, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, were there evil practitioners? Yes, there's evil practitioners in every religious practice.
Mm-hmm.
I've met a lot of more evil um, Christians that have done stuff that is basically spell casting against, you know, either myself or other people that I've known over the years than I have with my, you know, fellow Wiccans or pagans. So it doesn't really matter what spirituality you are. It's what is in your heart and how you treat yourself and others, including, you know, the animals, nature. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're all connected. And she says she loves the inclusive decks. And for some people coming in a little bit later from earlier, there's these beautiful images. The cosmic web, our elders, our crones being connected with wisdom, people from different ethnicities, just absolutely just gorgeous. And I can tell you, Kristen, I don't know if you were there to see the episode, but I do investigative tarot, and we were reading for one of our subscribers and fellow readers about a loved one. And that gentleman, the Asian gentleman, popped up, and that answered that he is was a beautiful message because of all the cards, he came right out and said, yes, he's okay. He's happy where he is, and he's still with us and on earth living his happiest life right now. So your cards have even been able to help me connect with people to help them
Oh,
through the
wonderful.
investigative as well.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
your cards cover a lot of I want I yes, it covers a lot of dimensions,
Yeah.
but it also dimensions of understanding, perception. Um, it can't be like just narrowed down to like, well, these cards can only be read for. They're very diverse, not just in their images, but because of that, how they can help and how people can relate and use them in their life. It's
Mm-hmm.
an all encompassing tool, spiritual tool.
Mm-hmm. And I'd
Um,
like to mention the other Rido card, A Hard Journey. And
mhm.
this is my friend Ari. He's a trans man.
Okay.
So this is about his
Wow.
journey from basically going through years as a child and early adulthood of self-hatred, and then finally realizing that he was a man, you know, and then going through the transition and just that difficult journey that it can be, and just what courage that takes for a
Mm-hmm.
trans person to fully embrace themselves. And so I wanted to picture that in that journey that's in this card. So that's Ari.
The mental that they go through, the mental health that they, you know, they need, the emotional support that they need.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a cousin um, who's a lesbian, and I don't talk to her anymore. But I absolutely love her partner, and um, when I keep hearing these, like with what happened, you know, with Colorado, um, it's just I can't imagine what she goes through. Her and her. As last time I talked to her, she was engaged, so I'm assuming that they're married now. But the you know, I mean, come on, people. It's, you know, 2000 and almost 23. You know, we should not having to, you know, be dealing with, well, excuse my language, but we don't have to be dealing with this shit right now. You
Yeah.
know, these are different times. We have got to let go of the self-righteous, you know, be careful Heather doesn't get on her, her bandwagon. But and I also have another family member who came to me about a year or two ago, before she's in her current relationship, um, but she was with a trans, and
Mm-hmm.
she goes, "You can't tell anybody," and I said, "That's fine, sweetheart. I know, but you always know that if you have anything, you can come talk to your Aunt Heather, you know." So it's so important for us to make sure that even if we don't understand it or necessarily want to accept it, you know, we still need to be a support system, you
Mm-hmm.
know, for them. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's enough shit that they got to deal with outside of, you know, everything going on in the world. They should be able to turn to family, you know, for that
Mm-hmm.
guidance and for that support. And
Yeah.
for some newcomers coming into, one of the most powerful and profound cards, and I want to ask you about this, is the Bracano, the healing card.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman with the double mastectomy from breast cancer. Now, is this somebody also that you knew? I mean,
Mm-mm.
okay, so how did you come about that picture, and how did you actually come about even conceptualizing to bring that into your cards? I mean,
That's
it's
a
powerful. I mean,
Yeah,
it made
that's
me
a good
cry when I saw it.
question. Yeah, like
Because
I've seen a few people cry when they
I
see the
lost an aunt to
card.
breast
Yeah.
cancer. My mom
Okay.
had it twice, so I've lost a lot of people in my family to breast cancer. So
Wow. Yeah.
that was very powerful for me. So how did you come about that picture?
Like it took a while because I had several other renditions of the card. And so I had one with a shaman, one with a like a new age healer. And then it was just something clicked. And I think I was like, well, let me find someone who has truly healed, who is accepting their healing process, who's really, having not just a spiritual healing, but a medical one, a physical one. And so I think I searched for an image, the stock image of a woman who had a mastectomy and found that image. And the fact that she has her hand on her heart, I was like, this is perfect. This is a perfect image. And
And for her to
so,
be that brave to put that image for
mhm.
anybody to use, I
Yeah.
mean, she has to be really rooted in. I mean, that's so personal. I sit here and I think
Mhm.
to myself, would I be able to show an image like that? And you think
Mhm.
about the amount of courage
Yeah.
that, you know, it took for her to, and the resiliency and the
Mhm.
vulnerability. Um,
Yes.
I don't know if many people have heard of Brene Brown, but she has books and TED Talks on resiliency and vulnerability. And to me, that has got to be, because let's face it, us women, even to this day, we are still treated like, you know, like that cattle. What's the what how, you know, how big and beautiful or luscious or whatever her breasts are, what size is her waist, what's the size of her back, you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
still that whole conceptualization of what, you know, a real woman is and what should, you know, should be
Yeah.
represented. And um so for a woman to be able to show herself without
Mhm.
the assets that
Yeah.
are considered, you know, the most, what makes a woman,
Yes.
and that we're raised as women mentality that, you know, this is what we are, and if we don't have this, then you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
to come and to actually be able to do that, and for you to feel connected, and courageous enough to put that in your deck, without caring about backlash or commentary, I mean, that's powerful in itself. And even,
Thank
you know,
you.
and Rain agrees too, that is a beautiful card.
Thank you.
um, Now let me see, I had a question. So when you were creating this deck, did you learn something new about yourself?
Did I learn something new about myself?
Kind of like spiritual practice or an understanding of the runes, that kind of thing. What, something new, that different things that you learned about yourself that these cards helped you birth, not just
mhm.
themselves, but birth the new parts of you that you didn't know existed.
I guess I was able to see myself follow through with something. Like one of the things I've always struggled with in my life is if something
Mm-hmm.
is very difficult, that I give up. So there's that tenacity. I've always wanted to be more tenacious, and so to me, this was symbolic of the fact that I could be tenacious in something. That there's something I could finish from beginning to end, and even though it was difficult. And like I went through the criticism process, like people would critique the cards and stuff, and like no one was cruel about it. But people were saying it like it is, and there were cards early on that just weren't good enough, and like people were basically saying this isn't good enough, and so I got that input, and so I think I learned about myself that I could take that kind of critique. So that was a good lesson to learn.
Did you learn anything new about your spiritual practice from working with the cards, with the runes and their meanings and their spiritual connection to your Norse pagan? Now, is it a spirituality or a religion?
So I'd say both. Yeah. I would say that it got me in touch with the runes more, definitely. Like before that, it actually was a learning process for me. I was learning about the runes and getting a deeper understanding of them while I was creating the deck. And so there are images that I created in like earlier renditions where I'm like, you know what? This isn't getting to the meat of what this rune actually means. And so so that's how like some cards ended up being replaced and whatnot. So
did you commune at all? I know this is personal. So if anything becomes too personal, let me know, especially with, spirituality. Did you commune with your gods and goddesses to help give you more insight into the cards or some of the runes that you might have been having difficulty with?
That's a good question. I guess so. I'm guessing I think with Thor. I think I was connecting more with Thor when I was dealing with the Thorazaz card, which is both a card that symbolizes the giants, the Jotuns, which is a supernatural being in Norse cosmology, but it also symbolizes the thorn and Thor. So there's like several layers of meaning that you get from the rune poems. So like we get the meanings, a lot of the meanings of the runes come out of these poems that were preserved. And so I think just connecting with the runes and the poems and specifically Thor, and Freya when I was doing Bracano. So yeah, definitely with Thor and Freya.
So this would be the one that you're speaking of, right?
Yes.
I was looking for one that represents. Okay.
Yeah, like Thor is a very fiery being, like, and he had a temper.
Electricity.
Yes, he has a temper, and so he sort of, I see him as like a big brother energy, and so it's sort of like if I'm going through a hard time, he's like coming to bat for me. He's like, who do I have to kill? Who do I have to beat up right now? Sort of like that on the playground.
I wish I had one of those.
Yeah, me too. Like I didn't have a big brother.
I was bullied, a lot.
Yeah, me too.
It's just like I wish I had that big sis around, or that, or a big brother that was healthy enough to say, hey, leave my sister alone. But yeah. And Miss Tarot D said something really nice too, that powerful, sounds like a lot of shadow work. And I think we do have to do, when we do Oracle, because for me, Oracle is not, or any type of divination isn't complete if we don't tap into the shadow side of ourselves or the work, because then the cards would be unbalanced. It would be incomplete. So it requires both light work, dark work, and even, the areas of, I've heard like grays and greens. So, and being an artist, I could think of all sorts of different colors. But yeah, an oracle or a tarot really isn't fully functional at its core if we don't, face down and work through our shadow stuff, our shadow side, or shadow experiences, that we had to go through. And one of those, I was wondering, I had to pull up a couple aside. And if anybody has questions that I'm not covering with Kristen about her cards, if you would like to ask, please go ahead and put those in the chat. I meant to mention that earlier. Oh, here we go. Just as I'm saying that. Robin, I'm interested in hearing about the differences between conceiving of an oracle versus a tarot. For me, I think oracle is more porous. It's more room to experiment because you don't have the restriction of the tarot. So for me, the tarot is much more structured, than an oracle would be. So,
Yeah.
would your
Yeah, I agree. And I actually was creating a tarot deck, and it was just going to be personal. And that was actually the first step before the Oracle deck, is I created using all kinds of different images. I didn't care if it was, stock image or copyright or anything, because I was just going to use it for myself. And I did the whole deck and lost it.
the file, the
yes,
oh
all the images, the folder that had every card in it, gone. So I was like, well,
I guess it wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be, And I think I took that in stride. Like, I didn't cry or anything. I was like, well, it wasn't my best work anyway. It wasn't my best work. So it was probably for the best. So,
okay.
But yeah, it was very structured, so it was like this meaning. Whereas with Oracle, it's like you create the meanings. You have to birth all the meaning making, all the meta narrative of the whole deck. You need to birth, so which is different than tarot.
Yeah, because tarot, it's like, okay, you have to, the numbers have to be there, the major, I mean, people can kind of play around and explore with the majors and the minors, but in the end, you can just go so far out. Or, with the oracle, for me, it's much more just open to, it's much more intuitive. I mean, I know tarot can be very intuitive. I've seen you in chat too when Gerald does his tarot the stash way. And when we all get into chat and share our ideas of what the suits represent, the wands and the numbers and everything. And it shows how intuitive decks can be created. I mean, Chris Ann with her, I know everyone uses the Light Seeker. I've never connected with that one, but her muse, it takes a while to get adjusted to the concepts, the images. And that's why I think it's just so fascinating how, even though tarot is very super structured, there are so many content creators and readers and artisans just tapping into um, their selves, their intuitive selves, and their spiritual beliefs, and just probably opening to spirit in ways and their guides that they may not even realize, and how they are channeling and bringing in ways of bringing the tarot to the new age. I hate using the new age, but the new times, our times. And I have seen tarot grow from when I was first handed, a deck. And there was just a few books, and they all say the same thing. You have to read upright, you have to read reverse, you need to know the negative, you need to know the positive, you need to know this. And it was just too much. I couldn't do it. And now, 20 some years later, here it is. It's so much more fluid. It's more open to interpretation to a certain degree. But for me, the oracle, it's like your playground. You create that from your, and that's one of the things. I don't know what some of your favorite oracle creators are.
Creators are. Oh shoot, I'm terrible at remembering names, but the women that create the the Alice in Wonderland Oracle, and the tarot, or the Oracle of Vampires.
Oh, you like the vampire.
Someone help! Yeah, someone help me.
I don't know those.
Yeah.
I love Colette Baron Reed. I have like 9 of her decks. There's some that I don't resonate with and I won't buy, but with her decks though too, it's interesting with her. She will touch on subjects that are uncomfortable, but she steers from dark images,
Mm-hmm.
not negative. She just, because I think for her, she wants to bring people in, um, into Oracle. And if someone, just coming in and starting to explore, what divination is all about, if they start to see dark images that are typically what they're used to as being disturbing, they're going to,
Mm-hmm.
want to shut down. So with her, I like the fact that, even though she doesn't use dark images, the images she does create with her artist does teach you those same lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it gets a little, frustrating with the tarot, but there's just so many creators now out there that, it really is a reflection of who they are. Just like these cards are an absolute reflection of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, an interesting question just popped into my head for you that I didn't have written down. Is there one card in the deck, or maybe two, that you feel embodies who you are the most?
Oh my. That's a good question. Who I am the most.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to take a look at chat.
Yeah. And I did look up Lucy Cavendish and Jasmine Beckett Griffith. They pair
Okay.
up to make decks, Oracle decks. So let's see.
Mm.
Da, 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 da,
And
da, da.
Robin has said, Kristen, having created a deck and having that personal connection, do you find when desiring divination, your own deck is the one you're drawn to use over and over?
No, mm-mm. No, because they all provide different things, and like I'm really into Lucy Cavendish decks right now. And so I'm journaling with those decks because they provide like a lens, like the Alice in Wonderland lens of using those metaphors and stuff. It's just different, and so I don't feel, you know, constantly pulled back to this deck. I feel it weighs equally with me as other decks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there
Um,
certain types of readings that you will definitely turn to that deck for specifically? Or is it just
um,
the energy? Because I know when I do a live, like I have 7 people right now. If I go to do general readings, and with the decks, all the decks that I have, I can probably not use the same deck once because each person's energy is different, and
uh-huh.
their question, I'm going to be pulled to use, okay, this person's question, that deck, this person, that deck, and I will use 7 or 8 different decks just for one, night's reading, and not just
Mm-hmm.
keep going to, you know, that one particular deck.
Let's see. Okay, so I pulled some out. Let me narrow them down to 3.
Thank you for these wonderful questions, Robin. I love your
Yeah.
questions.
Let's see. Well, this is me as a little kid. I mean, the good news.
That was you?
No, it's not
Oh,
literally me, but it's my energy as a little
yeah.
kid,
She's got a little
being so
cute one.
innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's she looks similar to how I looked when I was little, and so like just her utter joy, just that innocence,
Yeah.
before life and like the slings and arrows, of adulthood,
That's
got to
how I would
me.
feel when I was younger with Christmas, because that was the only time the family really put their differences aside
Mm,
and made it magical as a child
hmm.
for me. And, that excitement every morning getting up and seeing, or coming home from school and there's another package under the tree.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
there's Nancy. Kristen, she loves your
Hi.
deck.
Thank
So,
you.
so Nancy, I did ask Kristen. I don't know if you've been lurking, but I did ask Kristen if she planned on making a additional pack to add to the deck. And right now the sales are slow for this deck. But if they were to pick up, and there was a much stronger interest, that maybe within the next year, Kristen could put those on the market to add
Yeah.
to the images that she already has. So
yeah, especially there were some Othala ones that I created that I really did like. They were, dealing with not just ancestors, but ancestral healing. Like so, and they were Latino themed. So one was from like the Day of the Dead with the makeup. I can't remember what that's called.
oh, I can never pronounce it, but I know
Yeah,
De los
it's
Matas. Yeah, De los Martas.
yeah, it's like a woman's
Yeah.
name is like the makeup, but and then there was a pyramid from Central America that was in another one. So yeah, I mean there are several that I think could be salvaged and reused for the deck. You know, but as far as another card that would symbolize me, I would say Uru's sovereignty.
Mm,
And this is about, what I'm seeking. It's sort of like what drives me is sort of
mhm.
like one of my nicknames for my husband is Queen. It's like he calls me his queen. I
Oh
call
my
him my
God.
yeah, I call him my
Beautiful.
I call him my
How
king.
sexy. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Baby,
my
I'm your
king
queen.
and
For,
and
for
I'm his
Shan and I, we call
queen.
each other, he calls me his lady, you know.
Aw.
And because he loves Led Zeppelin, one of
Uh-huh.
Robert Plant's nicknames was Lord Percy. So sometimes I'll joke and put for like a gift or something, I'll put from Lady Prue. The Prue's going back for
Aw.
something, to my Lord Percy. I mean, it's cute. So yes, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just about me seeking my own strength, my own independence, my own sense of self.
I
Yeah.
also love that one too, the purification card,
Mm-hmm.
the water for purifying, and I like this one too, to protect yourself. I love the
Yeah.
horns.
Uh-huh.
Getting the animals in there, the deer. I'm very attracted to deer, connected with deer. And this one too. Oh, I'm glad this one popped up. Now, this is pronounced ingwas, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the seed, and it's in your hands, and within the seed is the power of the universe.
Yeah.
So that is incredible too.
Yeah. And
Um,
that relates to the god Freyr. The
okay.
other Freyr actually means Lord. And his sister is Freya, which means lady, but
And
his
she's
name
cat.
is yeah. And then he is called Ing. So oh yay!
The link, everybody, is in the description below. Like Gerald always says, purchase responsibly, know your limits, but the link is in the below. Kristen, how much your cards were?
They,
55, I believe, was it?
I don't
I
remember, but
don't
they're
remember either.
pricey. Yeah, they're pricey. They
But
are
the
because
quality is beautiful. The
yeah.
cards are not super thick. They're not super thin. They're not sticky, and they're not slippery.
Mm-hmm.
They're a good size. They fit well in my hands. The inking, the quality of the images, everything is consistent. It's a beautiful deck. Um,
Thank you.
I had like four set aside, and this one here, a lot of people go, when they see this, the breath of life. Now you included, I know it's hard for people to see, but in the
Mm-hmm.
image, you included the Vesuvius man.
Yes.
Could you explain a little bit for me too, the symbolism and how you read this card? Because there are a few that I kind of sometimes fumble a little bit with, and
Mm-hmm.
so I thought I'd take this opportunity to pull those out and just ask you, your interpretation.
Yeah, Ansu's like I mean, if you relate it back to the breath as in a creative force, like you see that in other religions, you see it in Judaism, the ruach, which is the breath of God. It's
Mhm.
this creative force, and it's basically you becoming godlike. You creating a whole human being. Like Da Vinci created this whole human being from his own hands and his own mind. And it's like the idea of you breathing life into something else or
Yeah.
someone else or something. Just that power, that inner power that we can exert into the world, so
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. And really quick, Rain said 79 Canadian for the unboxed version, not pricey for an indie deck. So, before I go on to my next card, we do have another question from Robin. I know you choose 3 different versions for each rune. Do the number 3 have particular significance in that regard? Does the number 3 have special meaning in runes? And that's something I didn't think of asking. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Robin. That's why I like people. Feel free. No question is stupid. Sometimes
Well,
people say, "Well, I don't want to ask something because I don't want to sound stupid." No, no, no,
yeah.
no, no. We're
No.
all here to learn from each other. So if there's something you don't understand or you want more insight, feel free.
9 is the main number in Norse cosmology and mythology. 9 is very important. I mean, you do see 3, but I guess saying like 3 times 3 equals 9. And so I just wanted to use a certain number of cards that would cover enough of the meanings for an introduction to the meaning of, like, you got to end somewhere. I can't make a deck like this big, and have like
Yeah.
10 cards for each
Why
room.
not? There's
Yeah.
a character that has 111.
Oh my
I
gosh.
couldn't. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something else. I mean, I can barely get through just doing a couple.
Yeah.
Just
But
checking.
there is a, like, the like, humanity was created by Odin and his 2 brothers, and so there is a triune imagery in the creative process as well.
Okay. The card that I've been wanting to ask you about because of the head and the mouth and over the eye. I'm kind of thinking that this is like see no evil, hear no evil, speak no kind of evil. Not quite sure. And when I say evil, means not being able to speak your truth, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for cataclysm for Hagalas. I was wondering if you could, share your interpretation of the imagery for the card. And I'll hold it up a little bit. Here, let me just do this. It might be a little bit easier for people to
Yeah.
see.
For me, she is in utter shock. That's why she's covering her eye and her mouth. It's
Okay.
so it's not a see no evil, hear no evil. At least that's not what I originally intended it. Anyone can read it the way they want to read it. But as for me, it is like the whole cataclysm. Her whole world has just crashed in front of her, and it's sort of like, I imagine her being in the middle of a war and seeing a whole building fall down, of her home destroyed, her child dead, and that's the energy I wanted to get from that one.
Okay, and we do have another question from Rain. How did you choose your artwork, meaning realism photography versus, say, watercolor paintings? Was there something that drew you to the realism?
That's just my style. Like, it's just something I enjoy doing. I enjoy manipulating photography. And some people would say that that's not real art. Like, you're basically stealing someone else's art and like turning it into
Yeah.
your own. And so they don't really, like, someone told me that, like, that this is not real art. And so but it's my art. I enjoy doing it. It was a joy to create, and so that's just
Well,
what I
back in the
do.
day, people
Yeah.
said photography wasn't an art. And
Yeah.
Alfred Stieglitz made sure that people said, yeah, and understood that it was an art. Now,
Yeah.
for me, I was kind of in that school of thought for quite some time because I went to college for fine arts, and it was so studious, just trying to learn how to draw, to mix paint and color the right way, learning the concepts of design and structure and composition and everything. And so I think a lot of us come from that place of like, well, that's just taking an image and not actually doing, the artwork. But I've come to realize that that is not, that's not true. And I have just recently discovered Canva, and I just absolutely love what you can do. There are things I can do with manipulating images even if it's images of my own artwork, incorporating it with like other, images that are available on Canva to create pieces of work that I myself technically may not be able to, that I know that I cannot create on my own. And so I've had to grow out of that mentality of but opening up and saying, okay, this is where this old way of thinking is not good, and that this is something now that you can do, to move forward. And I have a friend who can draw anything, or, with on pieces of paper with figures and things and whatnot. And she went to the graphics with the pen and everything. And I asked her, well, don't you miss the feel of the actual material in your hand and in creating the images? And she says, yes, sometimes, but she goes, I have the freedom now. And it gives me, the little time that I have to create, because she has a son and she's got a job and a husband and stuff to take care of, where this allows her to be able to more quickly draw, erase quickly, and create her work, so that she doesn't lose touch of that creative side of herself that she relies on so much. So, and yeah, Ray says, totally real art. Screw those silly people.
Yeah.
I mean, the images you see with the Rose, like with Rebecca Campbell and with Colette Baron Reed, and how they manipulate the images and do the layers and things, it just blows my mind what people can do with these, you know, with these programs.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, yes, I've totally changed my mind on that. See, people can change.
Wow.
They spoke a lot about the number 3 and 333, and here it is again.
Wow.
The power of 3.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers Charmed. The power of 3 will set us free. I love the original, not the reboot. Another question too from, we got some time left, from Robin. Kristen, can you speak of how you choose the colors you did for your cards? The lighting is particularly striking and powerful, and all of the images seem birthed out of darkness.
Wow.
Oh God!
Well, see, look at Robin. He's a poet and didn't even know it.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Oh, Robin, you'll have to come on my channel and we'll share our poetry, because I love reading poetry.
He's a writer. Yeah, he's a good writer. It's very he uses a lot of like subtle humor and play on words and stuff. He's very talented.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But anyway, to answer the question, it all came out of actually the darkness, really, literally, because the basis of it is astronomy. It's the skies, it's the night sky. And so something we didn't cover yet was that almost each card, has some sort of reference to some astronomical event or body, or planet, whatever, constellation, what have you.
Let me just do this really quick, so you can see the constellation right there.
Yeah. Not astrology, but astronomy. So it's like it's more sciencey. So yeah, and it's and all the references are in the guide sheets. Like what is actually pictured in the image.
Okay, now when people purchase your cards, there is a downloadable from the website that you buy the cards from, or do they go somewhere else to download?
Yeah, it's on the website.
It is on the website. Okay.
Yeah, starruneoracle.wordpress.com. Here, I don't think I'm a moderator in here.
Here, let me go ahead and put you in there.
Oh, no, I am.
Are you?
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing earlier. I saw a few people here, and I'm like, oh, I need to make these. Wait a minute, Rain, I made you a moderator. Oh, this. Oh, that's right, because she's got a couple different channels, and she's here under this one.
Yeah, it didn't.
No, it just told me I just took her off.
Oh. My
phone's being funny. Okay, never mind. There we are.
It didn't create a link though when I put it in. So, but starruneoracle.wordpress.com.
Yep, it's right there.
Yeah, and there's a link to, and it's just a Google Doc. It's not anything fancy. Let's see under the deck. Yes, the print guide I can just here.
Well, I have asked all the questions I have written. While she's doing that, I am just going to go through and show some more of her cards. Like I said earlier, I do have a video where I did a flip through of all her images in the deck. Let's see, the Shaman's Path. Yes. And I looked at that and I said, I totally get it. Because some of you are like, Shaman's Path, what does that have to do with just a tree trunk and a hole in it? A lot of people don't realize when you do shamanic work and you go into the underworld, a lot of times the favorite mode is going through the world tree, going down in and dropping through to the underworld through the roots and coming out into the underworld to meet your guides and your totems and things. So I love how, an image that's simple but can be so powerful at the same time. Yeah, and there was another card, Perthro. Take a chance, and so I'm assuming that this is like a spacesuit.
Yes.
Yeah. Taking a chance is now just her going out into space, being an astronaut. That's the taking the. I didn't know if there was another maybe deeper meaning or a different meaning behind the image that.
No, that's the image. It's like basically sort of like she is in the space, in the, like the spaceship or, whatever. And like the cargo bay doors have opened and she's staring into the dark abyss of the stars. And sort of she has to take that leap into nothingness, and yeah, just take that chance and take that leap. And because Perthro is about chances, it's about luck, it's about rolling the dice.
Thank you for joining us. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, it's about sort of hedging your bets, pressing your luck. It's the shape of a cup, a dice cup, and so yeah, it has to do with luck, and so yeah.
Now the other one I wanted to ask you about before we go, do you feel up to doing a card pull for the collective?
Sure, okay. I can do that.
So really quick. Manas, the self. Now, is this like when the last time I got this card, I kind of read it as the pink being, this being here being more like the shadow self, and this being the light self, the conscious self that we show to the world. And then with the two crows, and I know crows, I don't know if they were supposed to be crows or ravens.
Ravens, yeah.
Ravens. And of course, for me, my understanding of ravens are they're messengers from spirit. They're very connected to the wisdom, like an owl. They're full of wisdom. They carry the secrets of magic, of how nature works, the alchemy, basically, of nature and of magic. Is there anything else that that you might want to add from my interpretation that you meant for it to come through the card?
Sure. The two ravens are supposed to be Odin's ravens. He has two ravens named Hugin and Moonin, and it means mind and memory. And so one of the things that I'm going to misquote it, but I'll paraphrase that. He fears losing Hugin, but fears more losing Moonin, because Hugin is mind, but he fears worse losing his memory. And so it was just a play on that. Like the self is made up of thinking and the past, and what our thoughts make of it, and make up of our selfhood. And it's also sort of, I guess, it's a very powerful symbol for me because my mother, she has dementia. It's mild dementia, but the idea of fearing worse, the losing of your memories, just spoke strongly to me, as far as because if you lose your memories, you lose a part of yourself, so
I have another meaning now that I can lay upon the card, because when I saw that and saw the face looking away, it was always kind of like, oh, I don't want, this is the shadow self. I don't want I don't want to see that. I don't want to face what I have to work on or that other part of myself. So I love now that I have another connection, another meaning that I can draw upon.
Cool.
Wonderful. So we are at 8:11. So we do a collective. That'll take us, just till probably just before 8:30, which will be good for me, because I do have the StreamYard. Um, so we'll go ahead and do that. Just so thankful that you came onto my channel. I feel
Thank
very
you for
honored.
having me.
I'm very honored because I know you're very careful on who shows you go on to share your cards and read with. So this was a wonderful gift for the holidays. Thank you.
Yay, you're welcome. And thank you.
Okay, and let me know when you are ready.
Okay.
Go first.
Okay, I got Rhino the Quest. So I would say this is about that ache and longing. It's about that wordless knowledge that you are meant for something more, that you're meant for something different, that you are meant to create, to achieve, to become the person that you're meant to become. And so it's that longing and that drive to discover more about yourself, more about life. And so I think this is the message that keep going. I think that anyone who reads tarot or oracle are the kind of seekers. They are these quest seekers. And so it's saying just to keep going. Even if you feel frustrated or overwhelmed, or, if you need a break.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, come back to it. You need to come back to it, to achieve your higher self, and that it's an important quest. So yeah, that's what I got.
Yes, especially this time of year, taking care of yourself. Just wanting to run away from family.
Oh.
I pulled Isa Frozen, and this is the first time I've pulled her. I just absolutely love this card. She's beautiful. And it's interesting, Frozen, because we are, going into, at least in this part of the world hemisphere, we've been blessed, with, not having bad weather up here. A few weeks ago, the south of us got hit pretty good. But Frozen, for me at this time of year, and how I can relate to personally with this card right now, just not being frozen in fear, and not to be frozen in that fear of lack of, um, not feeling like, um, you're in control, the anxiety, that this time of year brings as well. Not sure which path to take. And I think this goes nicely with your card, Kristen, because, um, instead of being frozen and not being afraid of moving forward, your card is saying with the horse just plowing ahead, the right, just go for it, just ride,
Mm-hmm.
to not be frozen, to find that freedom, to get on that horse, let the fears behind, um, not to let, because right now there's just so much crap going on in this world. Um, and we're trying to deal with that with the holidays, with our family, within our communities. It just becomes so much that you just do want to get frozen. You want to shut down. Your emotions want to get shut down. Um, just literally, just mentally shutting down as well on all levels. And, that's beautiful that we got your quest card, because it shows that, we can move forward, we can get on that horse, um, and not be held in that place. Um, to meditate, use our imagination, know that there is still good that's out there that we can search for, that things to focus on what it is that we want to develop for ourselves or bring into ourselves, especially during this time of year. So I think that was two perfect cards for each other for
Absolutely.
this time of year. So, well, we're at 8:15. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I absolutely loved this more than you can know. And Robin and Miss Taro D and Rain, everybody who has questions, thank you for participating. They're just were extremely insightful. And do you have anything coming up for your channel? Do you plan on going out anytime just for a few minutes for solstice to do a small recording or anything of the sort?
I had no plans on it, but I've been very busy with other things, but yeah, it's not on the radar, but
Okay.
I'll eventually start making videos again, but I just don't know when.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Rain says, love your deck and love getting to know you. And oh, to
Oh,
know
yes.
you and know it more.
Yeah.
So you're welcome. For me, I think I might do a pop-up this weekend, depending, but Monday, Sherry H invited me to join her and Colorful Foresight and Amy from Amy's Healing Light to do some holiday cheer readings. And then on Tuesday, I will be having Ben from Beneficial Tarot and
Cool.
Tangi coming on for Yule. It's going to be the
Nice.
21st. So we'll be talking about Yule, the history. We'll be probably sharing some stories and we'll be pulling like little mini cards and collective to celebrate solstice. And that's exactly something else I wanted to bring up. It was so interesting when we were starting talking about Freya tonight.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people may not know what mead is, but Shan and I got some mead for the
Mm,
holidays
nice.
for Yule, and our brand that we typically get, they don't sell anymore at our liquor store. And so he comes out and he goes, well, I got this instead. And he goes, it has Freya's name in it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then talking about Freya, so it's a mead based, it's like I got vanilla or something else, something to do associated um with Freya and what. So I was like, oh my god, it was so
Cool.
cool. So um I'll be making a toast that night with my Freya mead. So I'll be like, here
Yay.
you, Kristen.
I love mead, so yeah.
Yeah, it's good. We save it for the special, you know, special holidays. So yeah, it'll be nice. Yep. Ooh, yeah, a lot of people don't know what mead is, and that's honey wine from way
Yeah.
back in the day. Basically run fair wine. If I say that, then people go, okay, we kind of know what that is
Oh,
now.
yeah.
But there is a brand that is a secret recipe from Scotland that's made with heather from Scotland.
Oh, cool.
And so that's one of these days I want to be able to. I hear it's a little spendy, but I'll have to find it. I want to order myself a bottle and have a bottle of mead made out of heather.
That'd be
So,
nice.
so that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, everybody. Thank you for coming. Have a blessed rest of the week is over. The rest of your day going into the weekend. Last holiday shopping before coming up. So take it easy. Be careful out there. Watch for the crazy drivers. I know I had to take some deep breathing. You know, relax, be calm. It's almost over, and just have a very beautiful evening and weekend. And we'll see you
Bye.
later. Bye.